Hello, my name is Scott Goodknight. What's your name? Outstanding. Welcome to Bobby Pickles Podcast.
Bobby Pickles Podcast. He always says that's me. With that look on his face, we'll talk about anything.
Outstanding.
Tattoos, t-shirts, politics, history, and hot sauce on everything. Bobby Pickles. Pop culture, documentaries, conspiracy theories, sarcasm, and fear. It's a conversation, start listening, cause we're all here. Bobby Pickles Podcast. That's me.
All right, man. You know what? We haven't done this before in the shop, and I hold it like a gun, man. I hope you don't mind.
I don't mind guns at all. As long as they're not pointed at me.
I'm gonna do this. You know, basically what happens is usually, and this is actually how I started doing the podcast, is somebody like you would come in. We haven't even talked that much, right? We only talked for like about a minute, 30 seconds.
Just a couple
Somebody
minutes.
comes in as soon as I know it's gonna be like interesting. I just gotta pull all the equipment out and then just do a podcast because it happens all the time. A customer will come in and be like, "Fuck, that was so awesome. I wish we could have, captured that content."
Exactly.
So let's take it just like you're a customer. You just came in. You're in the sweatshop. How you doing? My name's Bobby. What's your name?
Scott Goodknight.
And what are you coming in for? You need t-shirts?
I came in to talk to you guys about t-shirts. We saw you on the website. We're here in West Palm Beach. We're filming for a documentary called The Fearless Documentary. And obviously we're here to go shark diving. We're here to go swim with alligators and handle venomous
You're
snakes.
here in Florida?
Yes.
You're not. Where are you located?
We're in West Palm Beach. We rented
That's
a
where
house. But
where are you normally located?
So
let's back up.
Yeah.
You have a brand. You came in here on. Hey, Jermaine? Can we see this thing he's got?
Yeah, this is the moving awesome.
You don't have to take a picture of his license plate or anything. We don't want Antifa to find him.
It's fine. People couldn't find me if they wanted to. Yeah, this is the Club Fearless mobile.
So this is the what?
This is Club Fearless is an idea that I had back in 2014 that's kind of been on the shelf a little bit, but it's based on my ideas that I got. Growing up, I was a Boy Scout. You got to do things to earn merit badges. Whenever I dropped out of college, I went into the Army. I chose the hardest career path that you could in the Army.
Which is what?
To become an airborne ranger. You forego the bonus. You didn't get a bonus. And if you didn't make it through the training, you were still stuck with the longest term of service possible at the time, which was 4 years. And they even added 17 weeks on there to cover your basic AIT, Airborne School, and RIP, which is the Ranger Indoctrination Program. So they got you for 4 years, and you're going to go to a shit unit if you don't make it through this training, and you're not going to get any bonus. So the stakes were high, but if you make it through, you get this little piece of cloth, this little 50-cent piece of cloth here. That's a real Ranger tab. And this symbol, there's a lot of things that are interesting about the Ranger tab that I've incorporated into Club Fearless. One of them is, let's say you're an officer or you're an enlisted man. When you're an officer...
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
No, we're good. It's all good. It's all good.
Oh, the fan, there you go. So,
Let's just get perfect.
as you know, when you're...
Last thing.
No problem, dude. I've done this 1,000 times, so. When you're an enlisted man, you are required to salute an officer when you see them. Even if the officer's younger than you. If it's a 21-year-old butter bars, we called them, and you've got a 40-year-old sergeant major of the Army who's got 20 years of experience, knows everything about how to be a soldier and how to go into war, and this kid knows nothing. Still, you're required to salute them because you're saluting the rank, and that's how the power structure works. With the Ranger tab, what really interested me is when you go into Ranger school, they strip off all of your rank. Everyone is just Ranger Joe, Ranger Bob, Ranger, whatever your last name is, Ranger Goodknight, and you are required to meet the same standards. Yeah, go ahead, dude. It's no,
These are employees. I'll buy it. Come on in. Yeah, you're allowed. Come on in. We're in the middle of a little interview.
Perfect.
No, it's fine.
So
Now it's all hot.
So you're not you're not judged based on your rank, you're judged based on your performance. You either meet the standards and you get the Ranger tab, or you don't. And you can get peered out of Ranger School too. You're peer, you get a grade from the instructor on every patrol that you do, but you also get a grade from your peers. And if you pass the patrol with flying colors, but you're an asshole, your peers can still say, no, this guy's no good. And it can.
So the person that becomes a high-ranking officer, they had to go through the judgment of all the people teaching them and all their peers. So they actually do earn it.
Yeah, possibly. A PFC, an E3 could peer out a full bird colonel. If this guy was a total asshole. So it requires you to not only pass the skills and the standards of operating a patrol, a raid, and ambush, but you also have to be somewhat of a diplomat. You have to be somewhat of it's leadership, really is what it is. Mm-hmm. And part of leadership is understanding people's feelings. But the real idea that I'm really about, that I see being attacked in America right now, is the idea of meritocracy. And that is simply, for people that don't understand what that word means, it means you earn things by merit. You don't get things because you're supposedly disadvantaged. And that's one of the ideas that we brought into Club Fearless. You have to do 13 things in order to earn this patch. So just like we have the Ranger tab, we have a patch here that I had designed, and you also get a coin.
So if you're with everybody and you take your coin out?
Yeah. If they don't have one,
they're going to
buy a beer. You got to do some push-ups, So
established 2014.
And what this does is it bonds people together, because to have a tribe,
everyone dies, but not everyone truly lives.
And that's a concept, People are so afraid of everything now, and they're just so angry. But underneath all of that anger, it's the real fear that you're not accepting me.
Liz, can you bring me a fan, like a small fan though? The one like right by my desk?
I'm totally fine.
Please.
Or you could just get a rag or something.
I'm dying.
I'm good.
It's freaking sweatshop in here. We're interviewing directly from the sweatshop, and it really is a sweatshop.
This is a real sweatshop.
And this is a real conversation. This is a real customer who came in. He's never been here before, and I just like his story. He's a Ranger, and how long were you in the Rangers for?
Only 4 years, and this is
only 4 years.
Well,
why do you say that?
Most guys now, you talk to guys, they've been in for 10 years, they've been in combat for 8 years. This is back in the early 90s, so my experience of the Ranger program and the Ranger department is a lot different than what these guys go through now. Different missions, same principles though, same ideas of going far above and beyond the normal standards. We're not trying to just meet minimum standards. The standards are the highest. And then what that does is it bonds people together. You have this thing we call esprit de corps. And that's a French word that means this spirit of togetherness, this, what's like brotherly love, You would do anything for your brother. And so today in society, the idea that's countering the idea of meritocracy is this: they use the word equality, but that's not what they're really talking about. They're really talking about a word called equity. And a good way to visualize equity is if you see a baseball stadium, everybody there paid to get in. Whether they earn the money or not, they paid to get a ticket. But there's people on the outside, right out there in the outfield, and they're looking over the fence. They're there for free, okay? And that's fine too. But go behind the fence and look towards the stadium. You got one tall guy, and then you got a short kid over there, and the kid can barely see, and the tall guy is easily seeing over. So the idea of equity is we're going to take a box and put it there so the kid can see over equally. And then really, if you really want to take it to the next level, let's cut the guy's legs off. The tall guy, let's cut his legs off and make him equal, because it's just not fair. It's not fair. So these ideas kind of make people feel good that
ridiculous ideas that take away the struggle of life.
The whole idea,
it rips you from the whole experience of struggle.
On an evolutionary standpoint, it doesn't work.
That kid has to grow up.
Right.
Then he can see over the fence.
And you know what? If my favorite example is in Club Fearless, we have a list of over 100 different, adrenaline soaked. Some of the things on our list you could get killed doing. diving with sharks, holding a venomous snake, riding a bull, jumping out of an airplane. You could die. But in these moments, that's when you feel most alive. I think most people are just kind of walking around like zombies, and that's why these programs like The Walking Dead are so popular right now, because people are like, that's me. That's everybody in Walmart or Target or the grocery store or driving their car. We're just asleep. We're not alive because we're living for safety and security. We're not living for true self-esteem, which you have to earn, and for this thing called self-actualization.
I think that when you bring it to the political side of it, I think that the most people are asleep are the liberals. Those are the ones who tend to be asleep.
Anybody who's completely identified with their party is also asleep. It doesn't matter if you're on the right or left. I like to tell people it doesn't matter what's going on the left side. It doesn't matter what's going on the right side. It matters what's going on the inside. And it doesn't matter who's in the White House. It matters who's running your house. And people forget that. They're always looking out. They're not looking within. So a lot of the tests on our Club Fearless list of tests, you get to pick 13. Some of them are truly physically...
So there's more than 13 to choose from.
Yeah. But some, and I'll show you the list, but some of them are psychologically terrifying. Some of them are physically terrifying. Some of them are socially terrifying. For instance, one of the tests is you hold up a sign all day like a homeless person and beg for money. There's nothing inherently dangerous about that.
I love that.
But what is going to stop you from doing that rather than the fear of judgment? Oh, who's going to see me here in the community? They're going to think I'm on drugs, or they're going to think I'm thrown out by my wife or my husband. I mean, think about all the psychological fears that brings up. But then think about how that silently shows up every day of your life. What will people think if I start my own business? What will people think if I get out of this horrible, disempowering relationship that I'm in, that I've been in for 20 years, but if I don't, it's a living prison. I'm not going anywhere with this person, but we feel like we just have to. Or your own family. I mean, a lot of people are stuck in abusive family situations, alcohol, drugs, sex abuse. There's a lot of horrible things going on, and people just don't talk about them, and because they don't even know that they're in this imaginary prison of fear. And all you gotta do is walk out the door. You're not a tree, man. You've got legs. Leave.
I'm so happy we decided to do the podcast. By the way, Jermaine, if that goes off right at the 30-minute mark, it does that sometimes. You just gotta turn it right back on. Let me know if that happens.
Yeah,
anyway.
we can totally do this again. We can sit
No, it's good. Right on the spot is the way,
Some of those, right, this is authentic for sure. So the idea of earning things by merit versus having things given to you based on your skin color, your sex, or your sexual orientation. These are basic concepts that, what I like to say, we are getting boiled alive. You ever heard the saying, you can boil a frog alive? You can boil them to death. You put them in regular water, the frog's comfortable, you turn on a little bit of heat underneath.
Just a little bit at a time, right?
Because they're amphibian, they cannot regulate their own body temperature. Their body temperature will raise with the water around them, and eventually it'll get to boiling. They will never jump out. And so in a lot of ways, that's what's happened in America right now. But it's getting to the point where tolerance is no longer the goal. They keep talking about tolerance, but really what it is, it's about political domination. It's not about right or wrong. It's not about what's functional. It's totally... Yeah.
Oh, it's you. Hey, can I call you for the thing? I'm ready to go about something. Are you good with all the colors and everything? Yes. You are?
I didn't see was those ribbons.
I didn't because it's I think it's too much with the amount of I think it's good and they didn't offer that many colors. I think this is going to be a good way to start.
All right, so
let me finish this up and I'll call you.
Let's go.
Half an hour.
So, and that really gets us down to the main...
Boiling the frog.
Yeah, the main concept is that people don't even understand how much their lives are being controlled by fear and by society, by the media.
Society? I heard this. Tell me if you believe this is true. I feel like it is. Society was constructed basically to get the human being off the fact that they're going to die someday.
I think religion...
all the things
politics,
that are in the society,
yeah.
right? They are all constructed I think a big thing is entertainment. That's one of the main things.
It's a distraction, and it's also a projection tool. I mean, literally, you got a projector that's projecting onto the wall. But if you go back 2,000 years ago and read Plato, he was talking about the allegory of the cave, and the slaves were sitting down there, and they were chained, and their necks were forced forward, and behind them was a kind of a little, like a bar or some sort of a structure where they had little figures, and behind that was a light that cast shadows on the wall. So not only were they not looking at real figures, they're looking at shadows on the wall. The figures aren't real, but there's somebody manipulating them back there, creating like a little puppet show of shadows. So now with this and with TV and 24/7, it's not even news, it's entertainment. And we've got this thing
People's
called
opinions.
We've got this thing called confirmation bias, where we only see what makes us feel good, what identifies, and really it comes down to tribes. It's really just about winning. It's about tribe versus tribe. And I don't know if we're ever going to get past that.
But you were part of a tribe. The Rangers is a tribe. Is
Yeah.
that bad?
No, I think it's part of our human evolution. You couldn't survive as an individual. You couldn't, make a fire, cook,
I think there's a lot
hunt.
of good that comes out of little tribes.
Absolutely.
Especially little fraternities.
Yeah.
Like actually, I got the Proud Boy cap on right now. I didn't even realize I was wearing that. But I'm a Proud Boy.
Okay.
Right? And that just we're just a fraternity that likes Trump, basically. And we have all different, everybody's a guy, though. The one thing is everybody's a guy, but we're all different walks of life, all different shades. The commissioner's Cuban, Afro-Cuban, and so they call us multicultural white supremacists.
Does that kind of contradict itself?
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess because, I don't know, I'm maybe pushing forth the, because in society, in American society, I guess, white males are the best off, right? I mean, that's what the construct tells you. That's what everything coming back tells you, right? And a lot of people don't start off the same.
Yeah,
right?
when we get into the real specifics of demographics, I'm not an expert. I don't know all the figures, but one of the things that kind of blows my mind is that actually on this planet, Caucasians are the minority by a long shot. So this idea that different classes, different races are the minority, well, in what context?
Right. Yeah, 'cause globally,
Right.
Globally, it is the minority.
So, and really, the thing is what does that do? What does that frame do when you look through it, that filter that you look through? It doesn't matter if it's true or not. If it causes an emotional reaction of fear, that fear can be mobilized into anger, and now you're not thinking anymore. Now we're in our reptile brain. We're going down the spine. We are not in our cerebral cortex. We're not making logical decisions. We're flooded with emotions. We're flooded with endorphins and enkephalins and all these emotions and adrenaline. And it's just easy to control people like that.
Yeah. Let's get back to the brand, though. The 13 things I think we were talking about.
Yeah. So
we're talking about the frog and everything like that.
There's a list of over 100 different choices. Some of them.
100 different choices.
Yeah, 100 different tests that you can do. You pick.
And you
13.
I want to join this group.
Okay.
This is awesome. You want to join the Proud Boys? You should.
I think that might be a little political for me.
Are you a Western chauvinist who refuses to apologize for creating the modern world?
Yeah, I didn't. The only world that I'm responsible for creating is my world. And I don't have any control over your world or his world or her world. I barely have control over my world on most days. And I think that's, it's like Gandhi. He said, be the change that you want to see in the world. And I was at the inauguration, and I went and interviewed people on both sides with my camera. And I went to the Women's March the next day, and I interviewed as many women as I could. And there was one sign that stood out that this young girl had. She must have been 17 or 18 years old, and it was a twisting of the Serenity Prayer. And it's the first time I'd ever seen it. And the reason why it impacted me so much is because in the hallway growing up, when I grew up, and we moved houses a couple different times, but my mom always had this little prayer up on the wall. It said, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. You know it. Well, this girl took it and twisted it. She said, I will no longer accept the things I cannot change. I will change the things I cannot accept. And so that's an outward projection of a refusal of an internal responsibility to change the things that I can within myself. I like Jordan Peterson. I went and saw him in
Jordan
Houston.
Peterson.
He
saw him
first
in
thing,
Miami.
clean your room, you know?
Yeah.
Stand up straight, pull your shoulders back, look at the world in the eye, and take fucking responsibility for your life. Stop blaming. Stop being the victim. Because if there's a victim, there has to be a perpetrator. And to have that victim-perpetrator dynamic, you need a hero. So round and round we go. That drama triangle that they talk about in psychology, that scales up,
You're
man.
the hero in your own story.
You're the hero, you're also the villain.
You gotta make
You're
this
both
happen.
parts.
We all die someday. You know that it doesn't matter who. Nobody's above anybody else. Nobody's below anybody else.
Yeah. I
We're
saw.
all gonna die someday.
Did you see that cartoon with Charlie Brown and Snoopy? And Charlie Brown says, "You only live once." You know that YOLO. And
Yeah.
Snoopy says, "Wrong. You only die once.
That's
you
right.
live every day."
Oh, I love that.
So it's just
You only die once.
Club Fearless is a constant psychological reframe from out to within, from fear into courage, from blaming to self-responsibility.
Love it. I think I can get some people on board, man.
Great.
I think we could probably add to the ranks a little bit here.
Maybe we could have
I'm gonna put this
hey, you
up
know what we could
like
do? We could have a
tomorrow- today or
little,
tomorrow.
let's do a little membership drive here. We'll bring in some snakes and spiders. We'll do a glass walk in here, walk across some glass barefoot.
Whoa!
Maybe do a fire
Wait,
walk.
That's a real thing?
That's a totally real thing. We've done it. We filmed it in Atlanta. I've done it several times.
You've walked on glass?
You can totally walk across glass without getting a cut. You can walk across fire without getting a blister. It's all just having the courage to do it and the right technique, of course. Don't try this at home. But there's plenty of videos out there that explain it. And, again, it's just people don't even take the time to think, how is that
what's the guy,
possible?
Hoff or something like that? Will Huff?
Yeah, the Iceman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I follow him on Instagram.
Polish dude who like goes out naked into the winter.
Right, and
just stays out there. He's like.
And the benefits of cold water immersion therapy are now, they've been proven scientifically. It releases these hormones and chemicals in your body that cause your body to regenerate at a
If
more.
it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. That's his book, right?
I don't know if that's his book, and I don't know if Nietzsche said that, or it was Sun Tzu, or it was Attila the Hun. One of those guys said that, and I totally believe in that. If it doesn't kill you, you can get stronger, but you do need rest and recovery.
Tell me a little bit more about the brand that you came in for. So you got these T-shirts printed. Very nice.
I got these done out in West Texas. The whole idea behind this concept here, I'm not your role model, is, you know what? If somebody judges me or what I'm doing, I'm not your role model. I'm not your leader. Another way of thinking about it is when you step into the leadership role in any organization, on the front, you should get a T-shirt. You should get some made like this. And on the front, put, "I'm the leader." On the back, put a bullseye. Because the second you step into a leadership position, you also become a target. This just is a walking reminder that I'm the leader of me. I'm a tribe of one, and I always have to remember that. I'm nobody's role model. I'm not trying to be an Instagram influencer. I see that a lot now, and that's just BS. People are trying to get more likes. They're trying to, use those likes to sell products. They want to get sponsored. It's not a pure motive. Club Fearless exists purely for the continual daily exercise of facing your fear in every possible situation, whether it's walking into an elevator or going up and introducing yourself to somebody new like we're doing right now. I mean, just being opening up your heart to life, to reality, opening up your mind and all of your sensory input channels. Take the filters off and let it come in.
See,
it's not going to kill
I
you.
already reached that Zen point. I'm already there. I reached it through other things in life. But I love this, and I would love to do all this stuff.
Yeah, it's
awesome. It's for the people that haven't taken ayahuasca before. It's for those people that haven't done mushrooms before.
Right, absolutely. Right? If you don't want to do DMT, if you don't want to do mushrooms, if you don't want to,
hasn't died.
And I'm not saying
something
that
crazy. Like I'm talking about going through life's when it kicks you in the balls, and you have to live through it. That's what makes you hit this point. Or I guess you would, I don't know, people who crawl back and just. I don't know. I guess people do react the wrong way.
In a lot of ways now in society, people have never, they're not even crawling back into childhood. They've never grown up. They've never had a real initiation.
Yeah, I heard that.
And
there's an initiation that you have to go through.
this is an initiation. This is a legitimate,
See, I did that.
real
I moved
initiation.
away, lived in New York City, did all that. You know, I had to live by myself. Mommy and Daddy weren't around. You know,
Yeah.
and then that's a whole initiation thing.
For years, people would say,
Maybe-
"Oh man, I wish I would have joined the
college
Rangers.
Can be
I wish."
kind of that too, though.
College,
To an extent,
well, it
I
can be,
guess.
but now it's been perverted so bad. You got kids that have $100,000 of inescapable student loan debt. You can't write it off. You can't claim bankruptcy. They're imprisoned like slaves on a ship, just rowing, and the job market's not there. A degree's not good enough
But
anymore.
you do have to go through this rite of passage, like the American Indians did. You know, they would do some similar stuff. A lot of
Yeah.
tribes would do similar stuff like this. When you
need-
were going from your childhood to adulthood, they would take you from your mother. They would put you in the woods for
Yeah.
30 days, something crazy. And you
Like
have to fight your
in
way
the
out.
beginning of, if anybody's seen the movie The 300, in the beginning they take the kid through the agoge, and he goes through and he's disciplined and he learns
do
to
women
fight.
do that too, though? Or is that
now,
for the boys?
I think, yeah, women's initiation, really, honestly, and I've been in some men's group, I've done a lot of study. They say that when a woman has their menstruation, then they're a woman. And they know that they're a woman, but there's no clear physical demarcation for boys. They have to be physically scarred. They have to get a tooth knocked out. They have to get a scar on the face. They have to get a tattoo. They have to have something physical, a broken bone, a finger, anything.
Why do boys have to have that? Why do men have to have that?
I think if we could just go
Just
back
so-
to the caveman days, well, you were actually in battle. You weren't just practicing. Something actually really happened. And so now you're a part of the tribe. Now we can trust you. A lot of gangs in the United States, whenever a boy will come into the gang, they'll make them go perform a crime. And in the worst cases, they'll just go kill a random stranger because now they got dirt on you also. So some of these events or some of these tests that we have in Club Fearless are also potentially humiliating. One of the tests is get arrested. I'm not saying to go out and commit a crime, but you could get arrested at a protest. People go to Fort Benning every year to protest the School of Americas, and if you cross a certain line, you have now committed a felony. But are your principles and what you stand for and what you believe for, if you're against the School of Americas, if that's more important to you than the social stigma of having a felony, well, who else was thrown in prison? Jesus was thrown in prison. Gandhi was thrown in prison. Wasn't Martin Luther King thrown in prison?
I've gone to jail. I'm good on that one.
You know,
what are some other ones? What are like your favorite, like 5 to 10?
My favorite, I don't know, but just talking about some of the embarrassing ones, go to a nude beach and be naked for an hour. Go into the woods and be naked for an hour, that counts too. But if you're in front of other people, now you feel psychologically exposed. And how often do we put this shield around us to prevent us from feeling psychologically naked by, a way that we do that on Facebook every day? Oh, so the terror attack happened in France. I'm going to put a French flag over my Facebook profile, or I'm going to put, I stand with these people, or I stand against this.
It's all bullshit, guys.
Yeah, it's not who you really are.
No.
Who you are should be judged by what you do, not what you say, and not the fake mask
Well, that's why I like
that
Trump.
you put on. I really want to pull the mask off of myself as much as possible, and remember that when I'm looking in the mirror, I'm looking at a mask. I'm not looking at the real me. That behind all these layers, there really is just a little child that's scared, that wants to feel loved, that wants to feel safe. And I really identify with this because I was adopted at birth, and my younger brother was adopted, and then we had a biological birth. My two adopted parents had a biological
That is
daughter.
just like my business partner Piazza just passed away 3 months ago on the 23rd.
sorry to hear that.
And he had the same thing, man. He was adopted by two 100% Italian, and he actually did the DNA later, and then found out he is Italian. And, he was very happy about that news.
Yeah.
But his brother Daniel was born.
Yeah.
Biologically. So they couldn't have kids at first. Same thing.
And it changes. The parents cannot help but show favoritism because it's the DNA, the wiring in our spine, the million years of evolution, it takes over. So no matter how much you virtue signal and say, I'm with these people, you're not really one of these people. You can't, these people need to fight their own fight. And really, it's not even these people. Each individual has their own fight for self-esteem, for self-love, and for self-acceptance. Those are two things that are not happening in society, and they're being scaled up and projected out, and tribes are battling over this. You need to accept me. You need to love me. No, you need to accept you. You need to love you. And not even that. I need to accept me. I need to love me. That's really what it's about. Not even using the language of you or we, but I. You know, I love how Martin Luther King said it. He didn't say, we have a dream. He said, I have a dream. And a lot of people forget that. And it's so easy to fall into that comfort of we.
Well, you seem like a person who really knows about rhetorical devices. I mean, as somebody who has a degree in English, and I have a sweatshop, and I think coming up with t-shirts is a form of, conceptualizing a shirt is a form of writing.
Absolutely.
So I deal with a lot of I've taken like speech writing classes and stuff, and studied Ted Sorensen and stuff like that. When you talk, just the way you said, like, on the left and the right, and then inside, or whatever, all these things.
It's not about what's going on the left. It's not about what's going on the right.
You know what we do when we say we?
Yeah.
When a politician says we.
Right.
Right? And they evoke we, and it's a whole psychological thing, all of us together.
Yeah.
They do it all the time, But just like you use I, there's a reason for
Nietzsche said that it's the supreme responsibility of the individual to survive being swallowed alive by the tribe. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but he's like, that's your main task in life, to not be eaten alive by the tribe.
Really?
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Hold on 1 second. What up, Rob? Come in. What's up, man? We're in the middle of a podcast.
All right.
We're gonna wind down right now.
Yeah.
We're winding down right now, man. Go get ready for work. So anyway, listen. So we're gonna talk pricing.
Yeah, let's talk about some business.
Talk about some t-shirts and stuff. And if people want to join your group,
you can go
Club Fearless.
Clubfearless.us, not .com.
So you're gonna go international with this thing?
Absolutely, but I just really want to pay homage to the ideals that America was built on: courage, independence, freedom. Those words apply to every individual, no matter what race, no matter what sex, no matter what sexual orientation, no matter what class you were born into. We don't have control over those things. You do not have control over any four of those things I just mentioned, but what you do have control over is your personal freedom from fear. You can choose to live in fear, and if you're living in anger, that's fear in disguise. Okay? Anger is not a righteous emotion. It is a negative emotion. It causes relationship problems from me to you, with your partner, to entire society.
I have a problem with anger.
Yeah.
But I've gotten it better since Piazza's passed away, because I was very angry with him all the time. And that was like, I feel like I was part of his downward spiral a little bit, because it is a very horrible emotion to have.
Anger's toxic. Anger
there's
will.
A lot of stress in running a business, though, and sometimes you don't know how to deal with it the proper way.
Well, that's another reason for Club Fearless, because I want to reach out to people who are working in cubicles every day, and we have been, we're in a matrix now. We are headed towards, that movie they made in 1999. Yeah. It is literally here right now. We don't live in the real world. We're always walking around with this digital world in our heads all the time. Club Fearless is about a concept called bioenergetics. If you read about Dr. Andrew Lowen, and his mentor was Wilhelm Reich, their therapies said that the main problem that human beings have is they are in their heads too much, and we've got to get back into our bodies. That really what's going on is your body is controlling your mind. And now we know that more electrical signals come from your heart. More signals are going from your heart to your brain than from your brain to your heart. So I like to say the longest journey anyone's ever going to take is 18 inches from your head to your heart.
But that's more about meditation also, right? You could get there.
I'm not a fan of meditation. I cannot sit.
Did you do it? Did you try
it? No, I've absolutely tried it.
Because the whole thing is disconnecting from the brain and putting it back into the body.
For some people,
realizing that the body's here, and I think that it has an effect on my anger takes it away for
Dude,
like 24 hours.
Hey, if it works,
it'll
if
rear
it
its
works
ugly
for
head.
you,
Yeah.
then do it. Some people use yoga. Some people use running, and they run for an
You ever
hour
heard of
every day.
rage yoga?
Rage yoga? No.
It's fucked up.
I think that would kind of be nude yoga. I might go and film some of that, but
So
no,
if
seriously.
there's any other ways for people to reach out to you, is there any other thing, social media or anything else? Is there anything else you want anybody else?
Right now,
know?
what we've been doing for the past 3 years is we have been going around. You need to get that real quick?
Another person.
Yeah, that's fine. Grab it real quick, and then I'll wrap this one up. So we have been from coast to coast, and we've interviewed almost 100 of the most fearless individuals that you could find on planet Earth. The best bull riders in the world, the best shark
Do you have a
divers.
podcast or something?
Not yet. We've got all this data, and we're going to be editing it together soon. It's going to be in a documentary. We've already met with some
That
producers
sounds great.
in Hollywood. We've
That's so awesome.
literally been to LA, had meetings, and we're working. I can't really say much more than that, but Club Fearless is open for business. If you want to join, go to clubfearless.us. You can download a PDF right there. It's got the 100 tests. You go through, you check off the ones that you've done so far. You will see what your fearless score is. You'll see how fearless or not fearless you really are. And then now there's something you can work on. And you'll see some of the tests are like, oh yeah, you could definitely die shark diving. They could eat you alive. But you're not going to get eaten alive by holding up a cardboard sign saying, we'll work for food, or going to a nude beach, or writing your own obituary, or writing a letter of forgiveness to someone that's done something wrong to you, or writing a letter requesting forgiveness for something that you've done wrong. There's a lot of tests on the list that have nothing to do with physical courage and everything to do with emotional courage, spiritual courage, moral courage. These are the things that keep us imprisoned in fear. And when we're in a prison of fear, we get angry. Just like any animal, you put them in a cage, they're going to get angry. But what you have to remember is you created this. You may have done it unconsciously. It may have happened over a lifetime, but it's up to you to get out. So that's what we're here to do.
Thank you so much.
All right, brother.
Awesome. That was awesome.
Enzo.com. Enzo.com. That's Enzo.com. That's Enzo.com. That's Enzo.com.